Under the sulfur-stained sky of New Volgograd, fog slithered across the marble tiles of the memorial courtyard like something sentient, curious, unsure whether it was welcome at a human funeral. The air was heavy with jasmine incense, brass wind chimes whispering in the distant breeze like old soldiers afraid to speak too loudly. At the center of the courtyard, a coffin rested atop a dais carved from obsidian, polished, reflective. It bore no flowers, just a single combat knife, its hilt engraved with the initials BY and a dozen notches. A child's drawing was taped to the wood with trembling care. A lopsided stick figure wielded a sword in one hand, holding a teddy bear in the other. The caption read, "Bye bye Baba. Love, Micah." Captain Marlowe Finch sipped his tea. He was seated on an iron bench to the side of the coffin, posture impeccable, coat crisp, boots polished to a war memorial shine. His hair was silver, neatly parted. His eyes were the color of dark maps, deep, wrinkled, and watchful. The aliens arrived exactly on time. 3 species stepped off the gleaming diplomatic shuttle, each with a different concept of solemnity. The Voltrek ambassador, tall and translucent, didn't bow but blinked 3 times slowly, a gesture of respect on their world. The Jelnari slithered forward with coiling grace, wearing something between a crown and a blood filter. The Corathan delegate simply sneered. Humans. Always so performative. "I must say," croaked the Corathan through his translator, "your species obsesses over death. A single combatant dies, and the whole sector dims its lights." Finch smiled gently. "You didn't know General Baba, Yaga." "I know of her defeats, yes," the delegate said with smug precision. Finch chuckled into his cup. "Curious. I wasn't aware she had any." A soft silence passed. The Voltrek tilted its head. "This ceremony. It is open to outsiders." "Of course," said Finch. She believed in hospitality, even toward the uninvited. There was no ceremony in the traditional sense, no speeches, no clergy. Just humans in dark coats standing in circles, whispering fragments of stories, as if the dead woman might be listening. Laughter occasionally burst out, quickly muffled. A woman knelt beside the coffin and pressed her forehead to the side, then left without a word. The aliens watched. They conferred quietly. Too much security. Too many eyes. They had planned a soft invasion, strike when the humans were distracted by grief, unprepared. Their command vessel was already hidden behind the third moon, shielded and ready. But Finch kept sipping his tea. He gestured to a serving tray. "Would any of you care for biscuits? They're almond. She used to bake them before battles." The Jelnari recoiled. "You consume solid carbohydrates during mourning." Finch offered a smile that could slice through hull plating. "We consume a great many things during mourning, including patience." The Voltrek twitched. "And this coffin, it is truly occupied?" "I suppose you could knock," Finch said, and set his teacup down with a soft clink. "But I wouldn't advise it." The Corathan scoffed, already scanning the scene. Their soldiers, cloaked in invisibility gear, had started moving. Finch could feel it, those old instincts crawling up his spine like bad static. He adjusted his collar and looked toward the mountain ridge beyond the colony, where the wind was too strong for birds. Baba Yaga always said that silence had a weight, and the ridge was pressing with it now. One of the Jelnari shifted uneasily. "Your people, they seem prepared for something." "Oh, we are," said Finch. "For grief. For change. For the possibility that you might misunderstand what this really is." The Corathan commander frowned. "And what is it?" Finch's voice was soft, almost wistful. "A farewell. And a welcome." Just then, a child broke from the crowd. A small girl, no older than 7. She approached the coffin, laid down a dog-tag necklace, and whispered, "We kept the boots clean." Finch didn't move, didn't breathe. The aliens watched with varying degrees of revulsion and confusion. Then the chimes stopped. Windless stillness. No metal sang. No breath stirred. No digital pings from their scouts. Finch slowly rose to his feet. "I'll tell you a secret," he said. "We don't do funerals for the dead. We do them to announce the next chapter." The Voltrek ambassador's skin shifted to a yellow hue. "Alarm. There is movement beneath this structure." Yes, Finch agreed, brushing non-existent dust from his shoulder. She hated funerals. Always said they were for liars. But she loved war rooms. The Corathan drew a communicator. Our sensors show. A deafening metallic clang rang out. The dais beneath the coffin shifted subtly, 3 panels rotating with machine precision. Inside the sealed coffin, something tapped. Once, then twice, then 3 slow knocks. The Jelnari's translator unit glitched with static as it tried to define the sound. Unidentified. Pattern recognized. Babawai wake sequence. Finch turned to the aliens and gave a polite nod. She told me to give you the option. Leave now or stay and learn why she earned the name you're all so fond of mispronouncing. The child was now gone. Vanished. Evacuated. The air vibrated. The sky dimmed. One of the alien scouts managed to transmit a brief message before being cut off. It's not a funeral. It's a deployment site. The coffin creaked. Not opened. Breathed. A slow hiss released from the seams. Frost steamed. The knife on top rattled. Finch watched calmly. She once said, if you bury a legend, make sure it doesn't remember how to climb out. The Voltrek began stepping backward. The Jelnari was already signaling retreat. The Corathan snarled, this is an act of deception. Finch's expression turned solemn. You came armed to a place of mourning. That's not a mistake. That's a declaration. The chimes resumed, but now they rang in reverse. A hush fell across the courtyard. Every human in attendance had stopped moving. Eyes forward, expressions unreadable. Beneath the coffin, a rumble. Finch stepped back, his voice soft as a lullaby. Thank you for coming. She hates being late to her own war. The dais dropped suddenly, swallowed into a hidden shaft, and the coffin with it. The aliens watched, frozen, as a soft pulse of red light blinked under their feet. A signal, a heartbeat. Somewhere far above the moon, satellites pivoted. Somewhere far below, engines awoke. Somewhere inside the coffin, a human heart started beating again. The coffin descended through silence. No klaxons, no screams, just a mechanical purr of centuries-old machinery long thought obsolete, buried with the same reverence as legends and lies. 30 meters below the surface, in a chamber colder than morning, General Baba Yaga opened her eyes. Her pupils dilated in the red stasis glow. Her breath fogged the glass. Scars pulled taut across her jaw as she flexed her fingers and sat up, naked save for a frostbitten linen shift and a copper ring welded to her collarbone. She whispered one name, Finch. Above ground, Captain Marlowe Finch stood alone in the now emptied courtyard, watching the shuttle of terrified dignitaries shrink into the stratosphere. Most had taken the warning. Not all. A quiet click echoed in his earpiece. Alpha to Gray. Protocol 7 is armed. Finch exhaled slowly, then reached into his coat. Not for a weapon, but a folded paper, creased along ancient lines. He flattened it across his thigh. It was handwritten. Protocol 7. In case of an attack during her funeral. Subtext, you idiots really tried it. There were no heroes in Protocol 7. Only survivors. Only certainty. The kind humanity had learned the hard way. Never bet your species on someone staying dead. In orbit, the Corathan fleet decloaked. 12 war frigates, 2 carriers, and a command ship named Inquisitor's Grace shifted position in low silent formation over New Volgograd's western hemisphere. From their bridge, Commander Irathsorn squinted through holographic telemetry. Minimal resistance. Colony's outer perimeter shows no combat readiness. His second-in-command, a younger officer with twitching antennae, looked less sure. Their civilian networks just went dark, sir. All at once. Not jammed, folded in on themselves. Irath scoffed. Human incompetence. They rely on sentiment, not strategy. A long beat passed. Then their lights blinked. Twice. The navigation AI said in a confused tone, unknown signal received, witchlight primed. Please remain still while we verify emotional baseline. Irath blinked. Verify what? Below, Baba Yaga walked barefoot through the awakening tomb. Her muscles twitched from cryostasis. Implants reconnected one by one, each joint humming with a slow burn of kinetic memory. In front of her stood Sergeant Hanno, aged but steady, already suited in his exo-armor. "You look terrible," he said, then saluted. "Good," she replied. "Let them think I crawled back through hell." Screens bloomed to life on every wall. Satellite feeds, heart rate monitors, battle plans coded in ancient Slavic shorthand. She scanned each one like old diary entries. "How many stayed behind?" she asked. Hanno hesitated. 4 platoons, 16 civvies, 2 dogs, 2 dogs. He shrugged. They refused evacuation. She smirked. Loyalty. That's harder to breed in humans. Then her expression hardened. "The aliens think this is a show of grief. Let's give them grief." Above the colony, the Voltrek diplomat, still on the shuttle, still watching the moon grow smaller, whispered into a secure channel. "Abort. Do you hear me? Abort." "Confirmed," said a voice from orbit. "Engaging fallback protocol." "No," the Voltrek hissed. "There is no fallback. That wasn't a funeral. It was a prelude. They wanted us there." We walked into the legend's shadow. The channel clicked dead. No confirmation. No static. Just silence. Finch returned to the underground command vault and entered without flare. Baba Yaga stood before a hollow map of the colony, now pulsing with red threat markers. Her arms were crossed, expression neutral. "You could have stayed dead," he said. "I was never alive enough to miss it," she muttered. "What's their formation?" He tapped the map. Classic Corythan wedge. Overconfident. Frontal assault planned within 2 hours. "What have we deployed?" "Nothing." She blinked. Finch smiled. "They're not attacking a base. They're attacking a story. So we give them one." In the abandoned city, humans moved. Every window went dark. Every door locked. Automated cleaning bots rolled into the open streets, and then stopped, suddenly motionless. Alien ground troops began landing. Small squads first. Probe teams. Light armor. Nothing overt. They scanned for resistance. Found none. Then the bots lit up, one by one, and played music. From hidden speakers in the bots, ancient vinyl scratches filled the air. Frank Sinatra. "Fly me to the moon." The Corythan soldiers looked around, confused. One took a step, triggered a sensor. Explosives didn't detonate, they imploded. A pocket of street folded like origami, swallowing 2 squads in silence. Another alien tried to flee. Found mirror. The mirror didn't show his reflection. It showed Baba Yaga staring directly back. He fired. Nothing hit. He died, screaming her name like it would save him. In the war room, Yaga was watching. Finch asked, "Too theatrical?" She didn't answer, just whispered, "How many do they think we are?" Finch grinned. "Thousands." "And how many are we?" He pointed to the room. "You. Me. 16 civvies. 2 dogs." She rolled her shoulders. "Good. Anything more would slow us down." Then, her eyes snapped to the upper right satellite feed. The command vessel. Inquisitor's Grace. She tapped her comm, "Get me Sorn's private channel." On Inquisitor's Grace, Commander Irath Sorn was already pacing when the feed crackled to life. "Unknown transmission incoming." He snarled. "Trace and block." Too late. The voice came through, low, feminine, familiar. "Commander Sorn," Baba Yaga said, soft as frost, "you are violating a no-sky treaty and trespassing during a ritual mourning period. Do you wish to proceed anyway?" Sorn stiffened. "You're supposed to be dead." Her reply was a whisper. "So are you." The call cut. And then the moon spoke. From buried arc nodes across New Volgograd, which light activated. Every signal the Corythans used. Every weapon frequency. Every shield code. Hijacked. Their ships blinked out on scanners. Fleet AI began misreporting coordinates. Friendly fire protocols failed. Witchlight wasn't a virus. It was a eulogy. And it was written in Yaga's brainstem. Back in the bunker, Finch sat beside an old radio. He whispered to himself, Protocol 7 wasn't for when she died. It was for when they did. Behind him, Baba Yaga was already suiting up, combat plates sliding into place, her scars glowing faintly as internal systems rebooted. She looked at him. How long do we have before they realize it's not just this moon? He checked a timer. About 7 minutes. Maybe 8 if they're slow. Then we walk. To where? She smiled like a cliff's edge. To where they can see me. It began with a footstep. 1 foot. One crunch of gravel outside a shattered farmhouse on the edge of New Volgograd's Orchard District. That's where she was seen. Not through a scope. Not on radar. Not in scans. She walked. Barefoot. Armored from the waist up, old plates mismatched and scar-scored. A tattered military coat fluttered behind her like wings torn from history's back. The wind followed her. The shadows waited. General Baba Yaga, undead only in myth, strolled through her broken city with the composure of someone reclaiming a debt long overdue. 2 Korathan scouts froze when they saw her. One dropped his weapon. The other fired. The shot passed through smoke, hit nothing. She didn't vanish. She advanced. 1 step. Then another. She raised no weapon. Said no words. The scout screamed before she touched him. Just from a look in her eyes, cold, unreadable, almost bored. A glance that said, "You are always part of the plan." In orbit, Commander Irath Sorn barked at his fractured fleet. "Retake visuals." "Where is she?" His bridge crew fumbled. Internal systems were locked out. Maps rewrote themselves. AIs responded only in Slavic curse words. The Voltrek observer tried to calm him. "She walks the city. Alone." Sorn stared. "Alone? She dares. She doesn't need anyone." Baba Yaga reached the corner of 4th and Union, where a monument once stood. It was gone now, blown apart. A Korathan hover tank had been parked there not 15 minutes earlier. Now it lay crumpled like a soda can kicked by history's boot. Baba crouched beside it, not to gloat, to check the metal, melted from the inside. Behind her, footsteps. A Voltrek soldier approached, shaking. You're not supposed to be here." This was a war-free zone, a memorial sector. She didn't turn. The war ended. Her voice was dry, heavy with the weight of knowing. The alien nodded, confused. "Then why?" "It ended. Not for you." She stood, looked up. From the rooftops, humans emerged, silent, armed, patient. Not soldiers in uniform. Grandmothers. Storekeepers. Teenagers with old rifles. Ghosts with payback in their blood. Baba lifted a hand. They vanished again. Inside the colony's metro tunnel, Finch and Sergeant Hanno watched the flickering displays of alien fleet disorder. "Any word from the dogs?" Finch asked. Hanno chuckled. "They took out a scout squad near the greenhouse." "Good boys." Hanno cleared his throat. "You sure she's okay out there?" Finch raised an eyebrow. "Out where?" "She's walking right through enemy territory. Alone." Finch just smiled. "She's not in enemy territory. They are." Back near the ruined fountain square, Baba paused. She looked skyward. The clouds pulsed faintly. A fleet above. A funeral below. And between them, her. A child's voice rang out from a broken speaker nearby. She used to tell stories. About Earth. About bears. About frost that kills gods. Baba moved past the speaker and into the old courthouse steps. Inside, 5 elite alien commandos had taken position. Snipers. Plasma gear. Cloaking visors. They were ready. And yet, they all died facing the wrong direction. By dusk, the colony was quiet again. Alien corpses disappeared. No flames. No explosions. No grand finale. Just vanishing. Efficient. Clean. Korathan morale plummeted. Rumors grew. She walks without sound. She knows your name before you say it. She fights like regret, slow, certain, and too late to escape. On board Inquisitor's Grace, Irath had finally had enough. "I want her dead," he roared. "She's already dead, sir," a junior officer said. Irath beat him unconscious. Finch returned to the streets just after midnight. He found Baba Yaga kneeling beside the courthouse well, washing her hands. No blood, just ash. "You okay?" he asked. She didn't look up. "I let them live." He froze. "Who?" "A scout. Maybe 12. Just a boy. He had a toy hanging from his belt." Finch lowered his gaze. "You didn't have to. That's why I did." At 0400, the Voltrek envoy returned. He was alone, weaponless, and trembling. He knelt before Baba Yaga in the dust. We were told you were a story. A nightmare mother's use. We thought. You thought we forgot how to bury the stars." She stepped close. He flinched. But she only handed him a folded piece of paper. He opened it. "For words, tell the others. Leave." Then beneath it, scribbled in a child's hand, "Micah says hi." The Voltrek dropped the paper and fled into the fog. 1 hour later, orbit was on fire. Human stealth cruisers, black as bedtime and twice as unforgiving, blinked into existence from Quantum Fold. 12 of them, from Earth's lost navy. The ones no one had seen in 100 years. The ones Finch kept on ghost signal. "Burn them," Baba whispered. "No survivors?" Finch asked. She hesitated. "Then, only witnesses." The first ship to fall was Inquisitor's Grace. Its shields collapsed not from brute force, but from ironic poetry. Witchlight sent every piece of data they had back through time, emails, passwords, family history. It crashed their AI with regret. Irath watched his ship die in real-time error logs. A final message blinked on his screen. "You invaded a grave. She dug yours first." By dawn, the sky was empty. No more alien fleets. Just ashes and memory. Baba Yaga stood beside the same coffin that once pretended to hold her. Now it was filled with enemy flags, folded, silent, defeated. She looked at Finch. "I never wanted this. You wrote the playbook." "I wanted to scare them." He shrugged. "Consider them terrified." Micah, the boy, ran to her, held up a new drawing. It showed Baba Yaga with wings, flying over a city of stars. Underneath it, he had written, "She isn't dead. She's different." She crouched beside him. "I'm tired, Micah." "That's okay," he said. "You don't have to fight forever." She smiled softly. "But I will." The galaxy thought it understood humans. They cataloged us. Emotional, unpredictable, too sentimental to win wars, and too stubborn to surrender them. They marked us with cautionary labels, volatile, high risk, avoid in clusters, and logged our planets under quarantined curiosities. But no database, no academic report, no interstellar treaty ever accounted for one basic truth. We mourn like tacticians. We bury our weapons in coffins. We grieve like gods planning their return. Somewhere in a secure vault orbiting the planet Diron V, a high-ranking strategist for the Interstellar Assembly received a distress ping with 2 words, "It's awake." The strategist blinked. He hadn't seen that code in 108 years. He forwarded it silently to one person, his former professor, now a monk. The monk saw the words and simply closed his eyes. "Too late," he whispered. Back on New Volgograd, Finch stood alone in the command chapel, an old church converted into a signal relay post. The stained glass cast long blue and gold shadows across his features as he tuned the console. One final satellite rose from beneath the floor, coated in dust, blessed with teeth. Its name was written in forgotten Cyrillic. Below it, an ancient phrase, "Whoever disturbs the dead, wakes the living." He toggled the ignition switch and murmured, "You ready?" From the doorway, Baba Yaga answered, "As I'll ever be." Witchlight had not been a weapon. It was a seed, planted decades ago in every human colony, embedded in children's bedtime toys, woven into lullabies, coded into silent prayers, loaded into second-hand trade goods. It waited, slept, listened. And the activation key wasn't a button. It wasn't a code. It was a funeral. The announcement of her death, broadcast to 100 systems, wasn't sorrow. It was authorization. The galaxy didn't just show up for her funeral. It RSVP'd to its own undoing. Within hours of Inquisitor's Grace falling, panic spread. Entire fleets went dark. Trade routes blinked out of existence as AI convoys veered off course or self-terminated. Intergalactic markets crashed when a single voice appeared in every major capital's broadcast system. Not shouting, not threatening, just narrating. Baba Yaga's voice. They couldn't trace its origin. They couldn't shut it off. It appeared on dream channels, security feeds, even the meditation frequencies of the Alari monks. "This isn't revenge," she said gently. "It's insurance." Somewhere deep in the Ellerin cluster, a child born only minutes earlier looked up and cried, not from hunger, but recognition. In the ashes of the Corothan fleet, survivors reported strange hallucinations. They claimed to see her face in their dreams, walking calmly through flames, handing the maps of their own home planets marked with red circles. Some began defecting, begging for asylum on human outposts. Others took their own lives, whispering about a woman made of silence and fury who had rewritten the stars. The assembly debated, calling it a mass psychosis. They didn't know that Witchlight came with a second phase. Phase 2 rhyme. That's what the old field notes called it. Finch laughed at the name when he first read it, until he saw what it did. It wasn't poetic. It was recursive. The moment a system tried to solve Baba Yaga, categorize her, explain her, define her, they became like her. Memory loops, code errors, repeating phrases. Officials kept trying to say we're not at war, but the words changed mid-broadcast to we were never alive. Finch monitored it all from a control panel built into a centuries-old chessboard. "Your voice is everywhere," he said. Baba Yaga entered the room, sipping soup. "I hate talking," she muttered. "That's the funny part." In the outer rings of the Voltrek Empire, fleets abandoned their posts. Not because they were defeated, but because they weren't sure who they were fighting anymore. Reports conflicted. Some said Baba Yaga was a tactical AI, others a ghost of Earth's cold wars. One said she was a title passed down, like a sword no one wanted but had to carry. Some claimed she didn't exist, but every one of them remembered her voice. Meanwhile, on Station Arden Verge, a diplomatic emergency summit convened. It didn't last long. A projection of Finch appeared midway through the session, wearing his formal Earth Navy blues. "Good morning," he said. "It's come to our attention you've misunderstood the nature of our traditions." An ambassador tried to cut the feed. Didn't work. Finch sipped tea and continued. "You believed we gathered in sorrow. We did. But humans, we build from ashes. We prepare in grief. We don't bring flowers to graves. We bring futures." He placed a chess piece on a board, bishop to c6, and the feed cut. Every station that saw that message later reported hallucinating falling snow, even in desert environments. At the epicenter, on New Volgograd, Baba Yaga stood atop the watchtower once used to monitor harvest schedules. Now it scanned space for truth. Finch stood beside her, holding a report. "It's spreading faster than we thought. Witchlight isn't just shutting down systems. It's making people doubt their own superiority." Baba didn't smile. She pointed skyward. "They thought I was the danger. I was just the warning sign." In one final gambit, the Assembly attempted to retaliate. They sent their last-gen fleet, the Solon Reclaimers, equipped with anti-human protocols and emotion-stable AI cores. It never arrived. Instead, it was found drifting near the ruins of Inquisitor's Grace, its crew in stasis, dreaming the same dream. A woman, a coffin, a whisper, "You never left. You just buried your fear." Then came the voice. Across every star route, every broadcast channel, even in binary pulses through ancient alien trees, her final message played. This wasn't a demand, not a threat. It was a eulogy. "I died long ago, not in body, but in trust, in peace, in the lie that if we stayed quiet, you'd leave us be. But I see now. Silence is permission to be hunted. So here I am, not alive, not dead, just awake. And you? You came to my funeral, and I buried you with my name." Then silence. Galactic silence. The kind no sensor could measure, but every soul could feel. Baba Yaga descended the tower. Finch waited at the base. She looked older than she had yesterday. Not tired, just finished. "Is it done?" he asked. She shook her head. "They'll forget again. They always do." "Then what?" "We remember. That evening, the city lit candles in every window. Not for her, for the choice she gave them, to fight like the dead or to live like the remembered. Micah placed one on the courthouse steps. He didn't cry. He just whispered, "Thank you." In a tavern beyond Earth's orbit, a drunken alien slurred to a bartender. "I heard she died. Came back. Killed a fleet." The bartender, an old human with a missing arm, just nodded. "You got it wrong." "Oh, she didn't kill a fleet." He leaned in. "She taught it how to dig its own grave."